Good afternoon. Welcome to today's weekly press conference with head coach Tom Arth. This week, Akron moves into midweek Maction, hosting Eastern Michigan on Tuesday, November 12th at 8 p.m. at Infocision Stadium. Coach, would you like to start with an opening statement?
Sure. Thanks, Kathy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Very excited to start our midweek games. Something that, certainly growing up, I think they started playing these in '99. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I was senior in high school, freshman in college. When this all started. So kind of going back and kind of growing up, watching the MAC on TV. So excited to now be a part of that, and I think that it's such a great opportunity for our program, for our school, for our players to have the chance to play, on a national stage. And I know they're very excited about it, as we all are, and looking forward to Tuesday evening.
Well, that wasn't going to be my first question, but it is now. Okay, you're on a national stage now. You're winless, though. Does this still, in your mind, help the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, just any time that, you're visible to so many people, I think it's great. I think it's great recognition for our school and for our program. So absolutely.
How are you, or do you have to, is it an effort right now to keep these guys engaged in what they're doing?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I think actually it's probably, we're getting, we're doing a better job of that. We've been kind of working through that and establishing, the foundation of our program and how we prepare and how we practice. And honestly, probably the last 3-4 weeks have been our best weeks of preparation. So it's been really good to see that and to see the habits are starting to take root. And I think that's really exciting for us, and will bode well for us going forward.
The last couple of games at Northern Illinois, the conditions were horrible with the cold and the rain. Last week at Bowling Green, it was really windy. You still persisted in the passing game and threw the ball probably as much as you ordinarily would have. Will you continue to do that if we've got tough conditions again on Tuesday night?
Well, I think that's a result of the situation of the game, more than anything else. Hopefully not. We certainly don't want to be a team that's throwing it as much as we are, but when you're playing from behind and you get into the second half and you're down a couple scores, 2-3 scores, unfortunately, you gotta do what you have to do to get yourself back into the game. So, I hope that that's not the case. We really pride ourselves on trying to be a very balanced passing and rushing attack offensively, but at the same time too, you have to do what gives you the best chance to be successful. And I think that's most important. And a lot of the throws, are an extension of the run game, part of the run game, whether they're RPOs or just the looks that we're getting defensively that dictate that we pass the football. So there's a lot of those things, but ultimately, I hope that is not the case. Hope we can run the football with effectiveness and keep the game in position where we're able to do that consistently for 4 quarters.
At this point, what can you do to get that offense going?
I think from my end, just keep trying to put our guys in the right position, to keep coaching them really hard, to keep understanding what the fundamentals and the techniques are, to keep understanding the scheme and the situation, everything that goes into it. And I think from a player standpoint, we gotta play better, we gotta execute better, we gotta stop making mistakes, penalties or just poor decisions, poor snaps, taking losses, whatever it is, we got to eliminate those things and keep ourselves in phase. We're a pretty good offense when we're in phase, and we're not very good when we're in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11, which leads to third and longs as well. And I think that's true for most any team in the country. And just unfortunately, we've been in a lot of those situations for one reason or another.
Is the defense just running out of steam because they're constantly on the field at this point? I mean, last week I think TOP
running out of steam. They're playing as well as they've played all season long the last few weeks.
Fair enough.
As opposed to the normal 6 days that you have to prepare for a particular opponent, you've got 9 because the game is on Tuesday. What have you done with the extra time?
Well, we've really kind of spread our practices out a little bit. With the extra days, kind of shorten the day for the players, started them later, shorten the meetings, shorten the walkthroughs, shorten the practices, and really kind of combining, 2 days of work into 3 days. And I think, we just kind of finished that today. We were able to have a typical Tuesday, a shortened Tuesday practice, kind of a hybrid Tuesday, Wednesday practice. Today was a condensed Wednesday practice. And, I think that's been, really good for us. Take advantage of some of the time and, kind of keep our guys fresh. It's that time of the year, as it is, where you want to take a little bit off their legs and what they're doing physically. And, we'll have some more opportunities, to do that, this week as well. So, I think it's been good. Fortunately, we've have some guys on our staff that have coached in this conference and have played, the midweek games and have a lot of really good information and basis to go off of and really kind of determining what our best course of action is. And I think, we certainly took a lot of that. We took a lot of that information. I took a lot of that information and experience from our coaches and really put together a plan that, we thought would be best for us. And I think our guys have handled it really well. I think it's been really positive for us, and hopefully, we'll play well this Tuesday as a result.
One thing you can't miss about Eastern Michigan, they have 18 Ohio players on their roster. How do you make inroads and get some of that talent at the University of Akron? I mean, there are a couple guys from around here. There are a couple guys from the Cleveland area.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. I think that's going to be critical, for our success going forward. And I think if you look at, our roster and the guys that we brought in, whether those were guys that we signed or, even the group of walk-ons, that we brought in this year, we got a lot of Ohio guys, a lot of guys from this area, Western Pennsylvania, which is going to be really important for us, and certainly, means a lot to me, as somebody from this area and somebody, who has played and coached most of his career in Northeast Ohio. You really understand what the quality of football is in this state. So we're certainly doing that. We've done that. With our first group that we brought in, and look to continue that with the group that we bring in this winter.
Following up on George's question about the offense, is there any kind of an event or something that could happen in a game or that you could do differently to jumpstart the offense? Yeah,
stop making mistakes. Stop making self-inflicted mistakes, I think would be a really great start. I can't, sit here and say that, you're looking at it and it's just, the plays aren't good, that we're getting different looks than we expected, week in and week out. I mean, that is not the case. We are struggling as a result of what we're doing. And you have to give, our opponents a lot of credit, and they're playing well and they're taking advantage of it. But, we have to start with us, and we have to start with our ability to function just as an offense. And that's our ability to call a play in a huddle, to get to the line of scrimmage, to line up properly, to get the ball snapped, without it going on the ground, to be able to run the football and not take a 4-yard loss, to be able to throw the ball away, as opposed to throwing an interception. There's a lot of things that we're doing, that are hurting ourselves right now. So there is nothing special that needs to happen. We need to go out and play like we practice. We practice much better than we've gone out and played these past few weeks, and I think that's the big thing, and that's the challenge that we've kind of issued to the team, because I talk about it all the time. Is practice execution equals game reality, and for some reason for us right now offensively, we're allowing that moment, that game moment to really affect us, and we haven't handled adversity well. You look at even this past weekend, you start off and, all right, you go down, you kick 2 field goals, you're up 6-0, and then, our opponent goes down, drives the ball, scores a touchdown. Now all of a sudden, right, it's kind of a little bit of a deer in headlights, type of look on the sideline. You're down, and you just got to deal with that. You got to deal with that adversity. Okay, we just moved the football, just had 2 really good drives, a couple self-inflicteds, that cost us, and then, then we come back out, we throw an interception that gives them the ball at the 3-yard line, whatever it is. Now you're down 14-6, and that's what's happening, to us right now. And we gotta fight out. There's no easy answer. It's just you got to fight your way out of it, and you got to keep working every single day. You got to keep preparing every single day. You got to be detail oriented, and you got to have the ability to take what you do at practice and trust that you can do those same things in the game. You don't have to do anything that you're not coached to do, anything that you're not asked to do. And I think that's the biggest thing, for us, as a team is our ability, to do that and not to try to make too much happen. And, most importantly, we got to protect the football. I think you look at, when our offense these past few weeks that has been struggling, we're taking a lot of opportunities away from ourselves, and by turning the ball over and putting our defense in some really, really challenging situations. And I think that, we could talk a lot about, the things that aren't going right, but, I prefer to talk about the things that are going right. And there's a lot of things that are going really right. You take a look at, the challenges that we have, and you take a look at, what you're having to overcome week in and week out. And for our defense to be playing at the level that they're playing at right now is pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable. For our special teams to be playing at the level that they're playing at is really, really good to see. And those are 2 areas that you have to do. You have to play great defense. You have to play great on special teams if you want to build a championship caliber program. And, we're working on that. We're working on that right now. And I think our guys are understanding that, and they're getting there. Been so proud of their effort, and so hard of the way they're playing, and so proud of the way they're staying together, because there have been some tough moments where, offensively, we've turned it over, and we got to put our defense out there in a bad situation. But those guys got the right look in their eye. Like they're coming to the sideline, they're getting the call from Coach Feeney, and they're taking the field saying, like, all right, our job now is to go and stop this team. It has nothing to do with how they got there, what the circumstances, what the situation is. Our job is to go out there and get a stop. And that's the mentality that we have, and I think that that's pretty special. I think that's pretty special, for a group of guys in the situation that we're in, to be playing with that type of mentality and that type of mindset, and to be able to come in and practice with great energy, great effort every single day. I think there's a lot of really good stuff there, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of our team for that. And we will grow from it. We'll learn from it. We're going through, a lot of adversity, but it's going to make us better. It's going to make us stronger. And we're doing some really good things. Unfortunately, it's not always showing up in the, in the wins and loss columns. It's not showing up in the statistics. It's not showing up, the way that we want it to and the way that it will down the road. But you got to keep persistent, and you got to keep, doing the right things repeatedly. And eventually, you're gonna have success.
Any change at quarterback next week?
We got a few days of practice still, George. So we're gonna, kind of see how it goes and see who's playing well by Tuesday.
Big picture kind of question. What's been your greatest disappointment of the season so far?
Well, I don't know. I think, for me, I think for myself personally, I want us to be able to go out there and play better. I want us to be able to go out there and execute at a higher level. And, I take that personally. I take personal responsibility, for those things. And when we go out there and we talk about making self-inflicted, I'm not out there playing, but that's my responsibility. That's my responsibility as a coach, is to, keep challenging our players and keep putting them in, the toughest situations that we can at practice to be able to go out there and execute as well as they can. So, my biggest disappointment is that our guys aren't being rewarded, for the work that they're putting in. I mean, that really is. You go through all the struggle and all the sacrifices and the training and the conditioning and, the tough practices, for that opportunity to go out there and play as well as you can play and, to win football games. And, we haven't had that opportunity yet this season to reap that. To reap that reward. So, I think that's my biggest disappointment, for sure, is just not being able to deliver that for our players. There's nothing in the world that I want more, for them, not for me, but for them, to realize that and to have that feeling, that excitement, when you win a football game, just, all that hard work and realizing, that it does pay off. I want that in the worst way for our teammates, and I'm disappointed that we haven't had a chance to deliver on that yet. But we'll keep working, keep grinding, and keep plugging away until we get there.
You complimented your defense and how they handled last week three drives for Bowling Green that started inside of your own 20, and you complimented the way that their attitude toward that. But really, when you're going through a season like this and those sorts of things happen over and over again, how do you prevent finger pointing within the team, within the student athletes?
I think it comes down to leadership, at the end of the day. And, we're fortunate in that regard.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Coach, just real quick, just a little bit of a breakdown of Eastern Michigan and what you're expecting to see out of the Eagles this weekend.
Yeah, they're a very good football team. I have a lot of respect for Coach Creighton. I think he's been successful at multiple levels throughout college football, and I have a lot of respect for for how he's gotten to where he is and the success that he's had and the type of program that he's building at Eastern Michigan is very impressive. I have a lot of respect for them, how they play, and what they've accomplished. So I know we're going to have a great challenge ahead of us. I think this is a team that's a very dangerous team. They've had some ups and downs. They've had some really great wins. They've had some tough losses, and all their games have been close. They could just as easily be undefeated, in the conference as they are, their current record. So, we know we're going to have a big challenge ahead of us, and I think in some ways, they're a team that, certainly I think can throw the ball really well, but there's been some games where they've been down and they've had to, kind of throw it to get back into it. So I think it's a team that, wants to run the football. I think it's a team that can run it very effectively, very efficiently. They can create explosive plays in their run game, and I think that can all build into what they're able to do in the passing game. Defensively, they're a really solid defense, solid across the board. They play with great fundamentals, great technique. I don't think what we've seen on tape is not a team that's going to give you a bunch of exotic looks. They're going to play their defense. They're going to play their calls, and they're going to play them really well. So it comes down to our ability to execute and our ability to handle the pressures when they do bring them, because they will bring pressure and they will give you they will challenge you that way, but they do it calculated. So we got to be ready for those challenges when they present themselves. But very good football team, does do a lot of things well, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
Thank you all. See you next Friday.
All right, thank you.